All right. Bang, bang. We got a captain showdown contest. The two best teams in all of football, the New York Fighting Giants and the Eagles. That's sarcasm if you don't understand how to take a joke. Daniel Jones and Carson Wentz. And then you have Miles Sanders is hurt, Price. So that opens up a spot at the running back position. Who's probably going to be the most popular captain, I would say, is going to be
Boston Scott.
Facts. Is it a lock and load Boston Scott, or do you feel like you can, especially this one game slate, right? Kind of go over with the captain, like the showdown one game slate. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more luck than you want. If you are a good DFS player, you want as many games as possible to choose from. So kind of run down on what you think of showdown slates, and you need to be pretty contrarian.
Yes. So I'm on record saying I don't really like showdown slates that much for NFL. We've talked about it. It's week 7, and 5 of the 6 weeks I haven't liked any of the games or lineups. The 1 week I did was actually our best week. But I think this is a good game to be contrarian on because it's just bad teams. Like everyone who hated on the Dolphins and Jags, I love that one, and my lineup smashed.
You even played the $180 contest, and
I know. I never play more than like the $15 lineup or contest, but I do think I'm going to be a little contrarian, and I'm going to use Corey Clement instead of Boston Scott. Because week 1, when Sanders was out, Scott only had 2 more touches than Clement. And I mean, Scott did okay in a couple games at the end of last year, but it's not last year anymore. It's 2020. And if you're going to tell me I can get someone $3,000 cheaper at probably 15 to 20% owned instead of 80 to 85%, that's just leverage, man. And in a showdown slate, if Scott busts, I'm going to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, it's the way I look at it. I'm usually fairly contrarian. I always try to stack offenses because it's the NFL and I expect every team to score a bunch. It's a tough week to do that, though, because New York's running game sucks. The receivers are okay. Daniel Jones, mediocre. Carson Wentz is good, but his line is banged up. He's also missing Rager and Alshon. So Deshaun's finally back. Slayton's good, but he tweaked his ankle last week. This dude, Travis Fulgham's come out of nowhere and done well. You got Ertz is out. Dallas Goedert's out.
Ertz is retired.
It's like,
yeah,
it's just tough, man. It's tough. So you got like 6 receivers to pick from, like 2 tight ends, both quarterbacks, and then the running backs.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of leverage to be had if you fade Boston Scott.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of certainty as well if you do fade Boston Scott or a couple of the really high-end guys and put Clement along with both quarterbacks who are safe plays in a game that has a lot of uncertainty. There is a floor at the quarterback position, you would think. One also very contrarian thing you could do is, does Jalen Hurts start continuing to get a little bit more love and get maybe the playbook? He had one run for, I know, 20 yards last week. Maybe they put a goal line package now that don't have Miles Sanders, and he has like a couple Tebow runs or something like that. So, I mean, that could be super contrarian, but it could pay off. And if you're wanting to win a GPP, it could be that. But
it's the Taysom Hill mindset, right? I mean, they spent a 2nd round pick on him for a reason.
Yeah,
they want him involved.
Yeah, and at the very least, if you don't want to go that contrarian, you could do the Clement play. Allows you to fit both quarterbacks in, and then still play some, a Slayton. Rodgers also, I think, is a very good play at tight end.
I love using Deshaun as captain because he is a big play waiting to happen. He's usually good for, a handful every year. And at least one of them usually comes against the Giants. It's like clockwork. And with him back, that means he should get the majority of the targets. And it's not like the Giants defense is that great. He's in a good matchup. So in theory, Boston Scott's going to be the most popular captain. So you go Deshaun Jackson there. He does his big play threat where he gets, 5 catches, catches a bomb, 120 yards, a touchdown. So typically you'd be like, all right, so that's 26 points. But in this mode, it's 39. And then you fade Scott, go to Clement. And then you can put in both quarterbacks. And then you can pretty much, if you want to throw Rodgers and then another cheap guy, pick a kicker, you can do whatever. But that just kind of gives you a little bit of leverage on the slate where most people, I think, are going to try to put Slayton or Boston Scott or one of the quarterbacks in the captain spot.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on playing a defense, and which defense would you play?
I'll probably play the Eagles defense just because they have better playmakers. They have better defensive line, a better secondary, and Daniel Jones just turns the ball over all the time. I mean, I think he led the league in fumbles last year. He throws picks, he takes sacks. And so, I mean, literally, if you play one of the defenses, all it takes is for him to throw one of those weak ass, not a sharp out route, and he just kind of lays it out there, and the defense jumps it and scores, and they pay off no matter what.
For sure.
But that's the route I'm going to go. Most popular is going to be Boston Scott. I'm going to pick either Clement or Deshaun Jackson for my. I'm only going to do a single build, I think, on this week. We've talked about Showdown's tough. I don't want to allocate a lot of funds trying to cover every angle on a Showdown slate when I can just do it for the main slate. But I do think getting both quarterbacks, trying to get either Richard Rodgers or Deshaun Jackson in, because with the other 2 tight ends out, Rodgers will get targets. And then if you're going to use Daniel Jones, you probably need to go ahead and try and include one of the other receivers, whether it be Slayton, Golden Tate, etc.
Yeah, or you could go Ingram instead if you don't want to go the receiver route. And personally, that's kind of where I'm leaning towards is Evan Ingram instead. Slayton getting kind of banged up makes me nervous. I love Slayton. I'm a big Slayton truther, but yeah, I think the best play is to not put Boston Scott as your captain because he's going to be super popular and super chalky, and go lower, and that's going to allow you to fit both quarterbacks in. I think that's the building block of tomorrow. And if you haven't, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. I appreciate y'all watching. We have been flying out on this YouTube channel with content. So if you haven't, subscribe, and let us know in the comment section below what you would want to see us add to the content on this YouTube channel. We are open for suggestions, fully open to make sure you're getting the most value out of this and enjoy coming back. So appreciate it. And we will see y'all. Let's make some money.